all set? All right, first of all, thank you everybody for being here. I want to start out by thanking Nikki and Jen for their outstanding leadership of the Wisconsin State Crime Labs. As you all probably know, we have 3 state crime labs around the state of Wisconsin, one here in Madison, one in Wausau, and one in Milwaukee. And while a lot of people, I think of the crime lab's role in testing evidence that they receive from around the state, one of the other important roles that the crime labs play is that they have crime scene response teams that respond to scenes around the state, usually involving very serious incidents like homicides, officer-involved shootings, autopsies, and other serious events. So today we are proud to announce the purchase of a new crime scene response vehicle. This vehicle is going to allow our crime scene response team here in Madison to respond more effectively and efficiently to crime scenes. It's one of a number of steps that we'll be talking about to update and to enhance the capabilities of our crime labs. Responding to crime scenes, as I mentioned, is an important role that the crime labs play that helps local law enforcement around the state. Testing evidence is also a vital function that our crime labs play, and that work makes a difference in cases around the state. It supports local law enforcement, and it makes our communities safer. So you'll be hearing more from us over the next few months about some of the improvements we need to make to build on the outstanding team that we have at the state crime labs that does excellent cutting-edge work day in and day out for Wisconsinites. We will allow everybody to see the vehicle shortly. But in the meantime, we are happy to take questions from everybody here. Thank you all for being here.
We learned recently about this problem at the correctional institution where some informants that were inmates were exposed.
Sorry, we need to talk about the crime scene response vehicle real quick.
Can you talk about this afterward? Have you been briefed on this situation?
So I will answer that question from you afterwards. We'll do questions about the crime scene vehicle first.
Could you talk any more about just the nature of what some of the next steps are going to be as far as making investments? Like, is it staff, or what is it? Does it always have to pertain to like crime scene response, or?
So I think that there are a few steps that need to be taken. What we're really fortunate to have at our state crime labs is an outstanding team. We've got great leadership, but we also have analysts who do outstanding work. And what we need to do is make sure that we have the resources at our crime labs for people to be able to continue performing high-level work, for the foreseeable future. That's going to include adding staff. Right now, for example, the DNA turnaround times have increased over the last several years, but it's also going to include other improvements that we'll be moving forward with in the next several months.
How new is this unit?
The crime scene response unit, do you know the date it was when it was created?
It was actually created when the crime labs were created back in 1947.
Okay.
What the vehicle then is like, no mileage on it. I don't know how many crime scenes has this vehicle gone out to, so we're not right.
So this one is brand new, and what these vehicles allow is for a few different things. One is it means that all the equipment that the crime lab staff that's responding to the scene is in there, so they can show up at the scene with the equipment they're going to need. That makes the process more efficient. You also notice that this is a vehicle that can go over lots of different types of terrain, so if there is a scene that's in the middle of a field, this vehicle can help get staff where they need to go. In Milwaukee, where more of the incidents are in the city of Milwaukee, there's a Suburban instead. So there are different vehicles that meet the different needs of the different response teams.
How much is the vehicle? What year is it? Is it 2019?
The vehicle cost $192,000. It was paid for through DNA and crime lab surcharge funds out of the general crime lab budget. I don't know what year the vehicle is. Do you? Either you happen to know?
Yes, it's a 2018 chassis, and the box was actually just built over the last 4 months, so it's brand new. When did you purchase it?
I don't know do you know the exact purchase date?
The contract was awarded, I believe, in May of 2018, but from that point, you have to go through engineering and development because it's a brand new vehicle, so it's a lengthy process to get it built, then mounted on the chassis. And it was just delivered to the crime lab yesterday.
Do other states have something similar? Are we copying them, or?
Nikki and Jen can talk about what other states have as comparison.
Yes, other states that have crime scene response units do have similar setups or rigs like we have here behind us, because we're all doing similar forensic analysis. So we have the equipment that we need to do the type of testing, evidence collection, documentation, and preservation out in the field.
Are you saying neighboring states have this?
Yes, they have, it might not be exactly the same, but they do have crime scene response rigs or ambulances that they would take out.
Does this replace an old truck, or is this a totally new thing that,
So this actually does replace a Suburban that's going to be transferred to the Milwaukee Crime Laboratory. So we will have 2 crime scene response Suburbans out of Milwaukee and 1 large, like you see here behind us, ambulance here in Madison.
Right, and that's one of the nice things about this is it both it improves the crime scene response in Milwaukee because it's bringing a second Suburban there, and here in Madison because it's bringing a vehicle that better meets the needs of this crime lab.
and can you actually like test things in there, or like the specific functions of the box?
So we don't really do testing out in the field per se. It's more of the evidence collection, documentation, preservation, so that we can bring it back to the laboratory and do the actual testing and scientific analysis.
And Nikki and Jen can speak to the details of this better, but what having a crime scene response team allows is that when you have a scene that has a lot of evidence that needs to be collected, by having crime lab professionals responding, you have folks who know the best ways to collect evidence, to process it, to handle it, and it makes sure that ultimately when that evidence is tested, you have the highest quality results that you can get.
And what is like the response time right now? So we have this, but then let's say there's a scene that's happened. I've seen here that they've responded to 90 requests. So is this going to make it, quicker or faster to get them to the scene? Or are you guys looking to increase that number?
I will let Nikki add to this. One thing that they have observed is that there's been a really positive response from law enforcement around the state because of the high quality work that the crime lab response teams do. So, it's certainly possible that the number of requests is going to increase. There are vehicles located in Milwaukee, Wausau, and Madison, so the response time depends on where the incident takes place. Right now, all of the members of the response teams are volunteers at the state crime lab, so of course just getting people in before they go out is part of the process. But the crime scene response teams try to respond as quickly as they can and then often put in very long hours at complex scenes.
When is that second Suburban going to be over to Milwaukee?
Our goal is within the week. Yeah, within the week. We intend to transfer it over to the Milwaukee Crime Laboratory.
Any other questions on the
Can you
vehicle?
give names, spellings for you
Sure.
and
I can get them for you. Okay, so we're gonna move this podium out of the way. We're gonna do it without knocking off anything.
It's on wheels.
It's on wheels. Wheels.
Phenomenal.